Hi guys. Oops. I'm still not very good at doing these things, so just getting started. I have like a literal stack of papers here that I'm gonna try and get through in as timely a manner as possible. I'm putting 30 minutes on the clock here, but might go a little bit over that if I can, just to try and answer some questions. So happy Shadowy Day, by the way, and I hope you guys are enjoying the book, the novella rather. And okay, a couple of things. This is I'm gonna like spoil some things in general because I feel like this is kind of a spoiler heavy conversation. So right up front, some of the most frequently asked questions I get about Defy Me, I'm just gonna knock it out right here because it's like half of the questions I've gotten. Juliet and Warner are going to get back together again. They never really broke up. Doesn't seem very momentous to me, but I know everybody was really worried about it, so just wanted to let you know. That was never going to be like a plot point. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, there's no like real order to this. I'm just going to dive in and see how many of these I can answer as quickly as I can. Okay, will we get an explanation about Castle? I think I know what that question means, but I'm not 100% sure. If it means what I think it means, then yes. Yeah, you get some explanations about Castle, you get more information on his backstory, and you learn a little bit more about his motivations. You get a tiny bit of this in Shadow Me, but you get a little bit more information in Defy Me as well. What was it like to write from Kenji's perspective? It was great. It was easy. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. Will there be another book after Defy Me? Yes, there is another novella after Defy Me, and then there is the final book in the so there will be 6 books in total and 4 novellas, which means that after Defy Me, there will be 1 more novella and then the final book in the series. What has been your favorite and least favorite thing about being back in the Shadowy world? My favorite thing has been, revisiting this world and these characters I love, and getting to push them a little bit further, and just the sort of the obvious answer, I guess. It's just been fun to dive back into this world. I love these characters. My least favorite thing about being back in the Shadowy world is that I feel like, I don't even know if this is my least favorite thing as much as it is that I think it's a little more stressful now to write the Shadowy books than it was before because there are so many more people watching. When I first published these books, I was still establishing myself as an author and establishing an audience, and now there's an audience, and I don't want to disappoint you guys, but I also want to be able to write the story that feels true and feels right to me. So I want to be really respectful of the fact that I feel like the readers, own these characters too, without also losing my voice and my autonomy as an author. So that's been kind of tricky to navigate. When are you going on tour again? We should be announcing tour dates maybe tomorrow, very soon, hopefully. So you will get that information very soon. A few songs from your Defy Me playlist. I don't have a Defy Me playlist. I've gotten a lot of questions about playlists. I don't have any of those. I'm sorry. I don't listen to music while I write. Sometimes I listen to music before I write, but I know a lot of authors make playlists and stuff, but I think I'm too impatient to do something like that. Let's see, I'm going to try and like hit some major questions that I think a lot of people are probably wondering. And then if we still have time, I'll go back and answer some more like specific things. Will there be more scenes with all of the Supreme Commander's children? So, okay, there are a lot of variations on this question. Like, sorry about my sniffle, by the way. I don't know why I'm suddenly, like, right when I did this, my nose started, like, getting kind of sniffly. I'm freezing, and I don't know why, but I'm gonna try and beat that. But bear with me. So I've gotten a lot of questions that are sort of like, will we see this person? Will this person come back? A lot of questions about the children of the Supreme Commanders. And I don't want to disappoint you guys. I didn't even realize that this would be like that this would be a thing that so many people would ask, but you will definitely see the kids of the Supreme Commanders sort of like in varying degrees. So you'll see them in, you see some of them in Defy Me, but not much, because I have to kind of explain that Defy Me it's the middle book in this new 3-book arc. And it's essentially, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a story of, they're trying to, I don't want to like spoil the book completely. I know this is a spoiler chat, but basically this is a rescue mission. This is a story about a rescue mission. So, it's sort of tightly focused on the main characters that you sort of know and love. It's sort of like a sort of narrow focus, because, you know, Warner, Kenji, and Juliet, who narrate Defy Me, you're bouncing between their POVs, and you're trying to kind of get them back out and get them back together. So there isn't a ton of time for you to interact with some of the new characters that were introduced at the end of Restore Me, but don't worry, that's what the final book is for. That's kind of where, you know, everybody kind of comes together, and you know, don't want to say anything too spoilery. Okay, will there be a second book to a very large expansive sea? This is kind of off topic, but I've also gotten a lot of questions like that. So no, at the moment, definitely not like a sequel or anything planned at the moment. I don't want to say never. I've said never to things before that I thought were 100% sure, like never, and then I've had to eat my words. So I don't know about forever, but right now, no. But will I write more contemporary novels? Yes. Okay. Okay, here's one. Please, please, please grant me the answer of whether Warner's hair will grow back. I have gotten a ton of questions about this, about Warner's hair and about Juliet's hair. And here's another. So, okay, because I feel like I get asked this question almost as much as the question about whether or not Juliet and Warner get back together. So I'm just going to tell you right now, because I don't want you to worry about this. This seems like something you shouldn't be worrying about. Yeah, both of them get their hair back, and their hair grows back. It's complicated. It's not that simple, but they sort of have a return to normal. So if you want to shave your head in solidarity with Warner or Juliet, you might want to hold off on that. This was a question I found kind of confusing. Somebody said, do we see Warner in this book other than the first paragraph? And I did not understand where this person got that information, like other than the first paragraph. I wasn't even sure what that meant. Yes, you definitely see Warner in Defy Me. like full stop. You see a lot of him. He's not dead. He's not gonna die. That's not a spoiler. That was never the plan. So yeah, you'll see a lot of Warner. I'm really sorry. I'm like not reading your I'm trying to keep up, but like I don't really. I'm gonna try and focus so that I don't miss anything. But I just want you to know that I appreciate that you're following along. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. Are the memories in Defy Me with the characters actually recalling, or is it just for us? So I didn't want Defy Me to become just like an entire book of flashbacks. I personally dislike reading flashbacks in books. I find that they kind of slow the story down, but it seemed to be the only way to really tackle this issue in Defy Me. And so there are flashbacks, and I do use flashbacks in this book, but I don't overwhelm the book with flashbacks. At least I hope I don't. That wasn't my intention. And it's just supposed to represent. Yes, I also have Twitter questions. I see somebody says that. This is a combination. I like printed out a bunch of, sorry, I just cut myself off mid-answer, but I just want you to know that I am also answering questions from Twitter. It's a combination of both. But anyway, the memory thing is, the flashbacks are there to sort of show the reader that the characters are regaining their memory, but I don't put literally every single memory in flashback form in the book because that felt like it would be unbelievably exhausting for the reader. But it's just supposed to represent the fact that they are indeed getting back their memories. See, that was a huge spoiler. I don't think it like will affect your reading of the book, but like that was a huge spoiler. So again, this is a spoiler heavy conversation. If you have walked in here by accident and you don't want to be spoiled, you should probably leave. Which was more fun to write, Defy Me or Shadow Me? Shadow Me was a lot more fun to write because I was sort of so Defy Me picks up literally like seconds, almost actually minutes before Restore Me even ends. If you've read Shadow Me and you've read the teaser of Defy Me that was just released, you know that the last chapter of Shadow Me and the first chapter of Restore Me are essentially the same because we're just trying to weave the story together in as much as we possibly can. So it's supposed to be kind of a seamless read. So it doesn't exactly bridge the books because there isn't a gap to bridge, but Shadow Me takes place within Restore Me and begins Defy Me. So that was more fun to write because it was already, the story had already been established and I already knew what I was writing. So I just got to fill in the blanks. Whereas Defy Me was a totally new book and, you know, required a great deal more construction and thought and emotional labor. So it wasn't that it wasn't fun, but it was definitely more difficult. Here's a question I get a lot. Is Kenji bisexual? This is such a specific question. I've gotten so many questions specifically about Kenji's sexual orientation. I will say that I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility, certainly. But I have not yet explored that in this book. So here's, are you going to write another YA series when you finish Shadowy? This is another question I've gotten asked quite a bit about, like, what am I going to write next and what's going to come next? Okay, sorry, just looking at just trying to keep up for a second. I 100% am going to write more YA novels after I finish the Shadow Me series. And, sorry, I'm like trying to keep track of like what I've talked about and what I haven't. I keep trying to accidentally not use the title of the next novella and the next Shadow Me book out loud because I already know what the books are called and like walking you through my brain space right now. Anyway, yes, more books after I finish the Shadow Me series. I know I said that I would write another contemporary novel, but I'm also going to write other like fantasy novels, or, you know, like in the vein of the Shadow Me series. I have a lot of books I want to write. I've just been really lucky to be able to keep writing the Shadow Me series because people want to read these books. So that's been a really special privilege. Was it difficult to write in Kenji's POV? No, I found it an extremely comfortable voice to write in. Would you ever do a collaboration book with Ransom? Get asked this question a lot. Maybe one day, not right now. We're both so busy. And we have very different, our writing processes, not sure how to pluralize that exactly, are very different. So we'd have to find a way to merge our writing styles, not like the prose style, but like the way that we approach writing drafts and stuff, and that would require some work. Was Warner homeschooled? Yes, he was. Approximately how many words is this book? Okay, here's another question that I have been asked so much, so many questions, like so many questions on Twitter and on Instagram about the length of Defy Me. I am almost like afraid to answer this question because I'm like, there's so much pressure. And I feel like the answer you want from me is that this book is like 1,000 pages long. It is not. It is, I don't remember. I haven't gotten an actual copy of the book yet, and I have the first pass pages somewhere, but I don't remember exactly. I think it's about as long as Ignite Me, which is shorter than Restore Me. But it's so it's like it's somewhere in between. I think it's not the longest book. It might be the shortest Shatter Me book, but they're all kind of the same. When I say shortest, I don't mean it's like significantly shorter. It's just that they're all roughly the same size. Some of them give or take 10,000 words. So I feel like whenever I go to the bookstore, I see like all these like fat, massive books, and I'm like, I don't know how people write. I don't know how other authors write books that long. I think that is a gift. Like that is like beyond. I don't write books like that. In fact, my problem is that I always underwrite my novels. I never have any like bonus content or deleted scenes. It's actually really funny that the Defy Me BNN exclusive edition has a deleted scene from Defy Me. That was extremely rare that I even had anything like that. So I'm just not that kind of writer. My books are pretty tight, and usually just about like hitting, I'm not trying to compliment myself here. I hope that my books are focused on pacing, and I forget all the time to like, describe things in extreme detail. I just like to keep moving. I like the momentum. So my books are always really, really tight, and I don't know. Maybe that was a lot of explanation. Maybe that was like a poor excuse. I'm not sure. The point is that I hope you won't be disappointed that Defy Me is not extremely long. I got so many questions about this that I was starting to get worried. Okay, here we go. Will Warner kill anyone in this book? Yes, he absolutely will. This was kind of a random question. Do you think Iranians should be more fairly represented in the media? As an Iranian American myself, I was sort of like, well, yes, I do. But it's not a Shatter Me related or book related question, but I just felt like I should answer that. So the answer is yes. Let's see. Which book are you working on right now? I am working on the final book in the Shatter Me series. I said that once many years before when I thought that Ignite Me would be the last book in the Shatter Me series. So I hope I'm not lying again. But as far as I am aware, I am working on the final book in the Shatter Me series. Do you have any other books in the works? Yes. Well, that is to say, I will be writing a lot more books. And yes, I am plotting and outlining and drafting other things. How will Defy Me set up the last book of the series? I talked about this a little bit in the very beginning of this live chat, which is that the Defy Me is focused on the rescue mission more than anything else, and kind of getting everyone up to speed on like what the hell just happened at the end of Restore Me. So it's sort of setting the scene for a massive, like a major confrontation. Like, okay, how are we gonna, now that we're all together and we all know what the hell is happening, what do we do next? What do we do now? It's pretty much all I can say without spoiling everything. Is someone going to die? Yes, someone always dies. Will there be lying? Wow, was that Freudian or what? Will there be laughing amongst the crying in the upcoming books? There will be plenty of lying in the books, and laughing and crying, I hope. Do I already know which POV novella 4 is going to be? I think by novella 4 you mean the 4th novella, but it's technically the 5.5 in the series. Yes, I do, because I've already written it, though I don't think I am allowed to talk about it yet. Okay. What are you currently reading? I am reading a new romance novel from Lisa Kleypas. Though I haven't started it yet. I did just buy it. And I just bought The Cruel King. Or wait, is that the sequel? The new Holly Black books. I've heard a lot about them. I'm very excited to read them. Just how important is Kenji in the next few books? Kenji is always important. How do you stay motivated while working on a new novel? Well, my answer to that question is very different now that I have been working for, it's been like 10 years now. So I'm like a working writer who works from contract to contract, and it's not the same as it was when I was an aspiring author and was trying to stay motivated despite rejection. Now I stay motivated because it's my job and I like to pay my bills, but also because I love stories, and that's why I'm here. So this question's really funny. Do Adam and Emmaline start dating? I thought that was hilarious because I realized when I read that question how differently we well, I'm not imagining the book because I've already written it, but how differently you must be imagining how things go in Defy Me than they actually go. That was sort of a clunky sentence, but I think you know what I mean. You are imagining a version of Defy Me that is so different from what actually happens that was really interesting to me. Because Emmeline's not dating anyone. Did you do this on purpose? A for Aaron and A for Adam, just like E for Ella and E for Emmaline. Yeah, I think the alliteration is cute. Okay, I'm gonna skip forward a little bit. What's up with Adam seeming so apathetic about the murder/kidnapping of his brother and the girl he literally used to be in love with? I'm assuming this person has read the Defy Me excerpt, because that's the only place you would have read something like that. I don't think Adam is apathetic. I think Adam is dealing with a lot. I don't think Adam is a villain. I don't hate Adam. So that's certainly not my intention. Not my intention to make him seem like a jerk. But well, unless he's doing jerky things. But I can't really. You have to just keep reading. You have to keep reading the books, I guess, to understand. But there's certainly more to it than just that. What's your favorite pop culture reference in the series? I think for me, it's probably the references to Bruce Lee. Let's see. Like, I just realized it's almost 1:30 and I am not, like, even a little bit finished answering some of these questions. Oh, here's an important one. Someone says that she just read Restore Me and realized that there's a severe lack of naturality in the Spanish sentences in Restore Me. She says, we don't speak like that in Spanish, and please be careful with phrases in Spanish. I'm really sorry if I did that poorly. I have lots of friends and family members who speak Spanish as their native language, and read those lines for me. But I also completely understand that even in the same country, even in the same town, not everybody speaks Spanish the same way. So I'm always going to try harder to get that right. And thanks for letting me know. If all the characters grew up in our society, would Kenji be a feminist? I think Kenji is already a feminist. Here's a question I thought was really interesting. Somebody says, why does Kenji's POV stop halfway through the book? What happened to Kenji? And you must be talking about Defy Me. And how you even know this is just beyond me. You guys are like really, like ahead of the game. That's pretty, I'm just baffled. I don't know how you know that. But Kenji does not die. Kenji just, when he and Juliet, and I feel like now I have to tell you, but like when they're all sort of reunited, his POV becomes redundant. And to answer another question, somebody at some point, somebody had asked, I just lost my train of thought. Why I chose, somebody had asked why I had chosen to include Kenji's POV in Defy Me, and it was because at the end of Restore Me, Warner, Kenji, and Juliet all end up in very different places, and in order to keep the story present and to keep the action as active as possible and not have to like catch everyone up later, like in secondhand conversations and so forth, I thought it would be best to give them each their own voice and to keep the story moving. So when they're suddenly all together, it no longer seemed to make sense for Kenji to have his own POV. It just kind of felt redundant. A lot of questions about his socks, Warner's socks. Is Warner gonna make any more genuine friends besides Kenji and Juliet? He literally has no social life once the war is over. It is kind of unbelievable that Warner has any friends at all right now. So I doubt he'll be making any more friends, but if he does, it will be a surprise to me. Whatever happened to the dog in Unravel Me? You guys are hilarious. It's so funny. I think the dog is fine. He's just, you know, hanging out with other dogs and living a good and full life. What the hell is Delaloo? You know, I think that's how you pronounce it. That's how I pronounce it anyway. I've gotten some questions about that. What the hell is his deal? I think it's time we find out. He plays a huge role in Defy Me. And it's very smart of you to ask that question. You will get the answers to that question. Is Hyder in love with Warner? Who isn't? Will we see any more of Valentina? She shows... So that's sort of the part of the earlier answer I gave, which is that there isn't a lot of time for... a lot of the characters to get together and see each other, and I don't want to say anything too spoilery, but you will see all of these characters for certain. You will see them again, but you'll see them really shine in the last book. Any details on the bonus scene from the BNN edition? As I mentioned, it is a deleted scene from Defy Me, which again is rare. I don't usually have deleted scenes because I tend to underwrite my books and have to go back in and layer them. This actually just happens to be it's sort of like a steamy scene between Warner and Juliet that I had written in like a first version of this book, and then it didn't end up working out. I sort of restructured the way that this scene ended up happening, and it became redundant. And I was like, well, I can just, it's like a fully constructed scene, so why not just let you guys have it anyway? But it doesn't really, it just exists kind of on its own. Have you seen our theories, and have we gotten anything right? I try not to get, you know, I try not to blur the lines between the reader and the author. I want you to have your safe space where you get to dream and think and believe and you know, what you know, I want you to have that safe space to be able to think and write fan fiction. I've never read Shatter Me fan fiction. I have, so you know, like I feel like that's like your safe space, and I try not to go there. So I try not to read your theories, but you guys are very smart, and I am sure you have gotten a lot of things right. I'm like trying to also see if there's anything I'm missing here, but I can't quite keep up with your comments. Are you nervous about how we'll react to Defy Me, or do you think we'll love it? This feels like a natural follow-up question to what I just said. I am always nervous about how readers will respond to my books, any of the books, any book I've ever written. I feel like that's just sort of the nature of the game. As authors, we can't help but, I mean, just in general, like with all books, but specifically with the Shadow Me series, yeah, you know, it's I don't want you to hate these books. I don't want to do something that will make you feel like you can't recognize these characters anymore. You know, you've been living with them for so long. I've been living with them for so long, so of course I care. I try to be respectful of that. But I hope you'll like it. I hope you know that I'm always just trying to do what I think is best and most natural for these characters. I will also say, I've been able to see now how the, do you stalk us when the book comes out so you can hear our thoughts? I just saw that as a follow-up. I do not. I think that would be so stressful. I try not to look at my phone or at social media in as much as I possibly can. For a great deal of my presence on the internet is, you know, it's part of my job. So I have to be present. I have to talk about the books. I don't want to get too much in your space. I want to respect that space. You get to hate books if you want to hate them. But I hope you know that I'm not trying to I hope there's no like enmity between us. But I'm trying my best. I really am. What was a question? Okay. I think I may have cut myself off mid-sentence. But by the way, it's 1:35. I'm going to keep going for a little bit more. If you guys can stick around, I will. I'm just going to try and answer maybe another 10 minutes. I'll try and answer a few more questions. Please say something about Emmaline and her relationship with Juliet. So I've gotten a lot of questions about Emmaline. I've gotten a lot of questions about, you know, there's a lot of mystery around her. What's she going to be like? What's that relationship going to be like? And I feel like this is actually a big spoiler, like so much so that I don't think I can say very much about this without possibly ruining your experience of discovery while reading this book. So I won't say too much, but I will say that the relationship between Emmaline and Juliet is very important. It's very heavy. It's sad, but it's not, there's no animosity between them. It's just that they've both been through so much. And I feel like their reunion is really emotional. Does Warner snore? Absolutely not. Can you save the live stream so it can be watched later? Yes, I will save this so that it stays up for 24 hours. There's another question asking me to make the books as fat as possible. I will do my best, but I have to write the book that feels right to me, and just like not really a fat book writer. Let's see. Is Juliet pregnant? No. No, she's not. Do you relate to Juliet in any way? Yes, I think definitely I relate to Juliet in a lot of ways. I think I know that I felt extremely alone and isolated and sort of ostracized as a young person. And I struggled with that a lot of feeling like I was being labeled this like other, this misunderstood, this almost monstrous caricature of a human being. as a young person. And I think that writing this book was sort of the, this is the extreme metaphor to explore those feelings. But so yes, there's quite a lot of Juliet's emotional through line that I relate to, but there's also a lot about her that is entirely her own thing. I actually think I split up a lot of my personality into all of my characters. Believe it or not, there's a lot of me in Warner. There's a lot of me in Kenji. So, I feel like that's kind of what we do as authors, is we put a little bit of ourselves in a lot of different characters. So there's that. Will we see or know more about other resistance groups in Defy Me? Yes, that's actually very important. Very important, and you definitely will. Is Kenji just physically attracted to Nazira / desperate for love the way Juliet was with Adam? Okay, I'm not sure if you've read Shadowy, or if this is just based on what you read in Restore Me, but either way, so the relationship between Kenji and Nazira is new, and it's not really much of a relationship, is it? It's they're both getting to know each other. They're both very, very different, and Kenji is definitely right now extremely motivated by physical attraction, and that's kind of it. And he's very aware of the fact that he's just sort of like, oh wow, she's really pretty, and I'm really lonely, and that would be nice. And that's just a different kind of beginning, I think, to a relationship. And I think it is intentionally, right now, there's so much I wish I could say, but then what's the point of writing the books, right? So you have to read them. But I want to say that I care a lot about Kenji. I care about all of these characters a great deal. And I want them to be happy. And the situation with Nazira is going to take some time to unfold and develop. And they both need to grow up a little bit and be honest with each other and themselves. And we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But it's certainly, there's certainly a lot more there. There's more there that has not yet been mined. And so just have faith, bear with me. How do you write humor? Because I have a hard time writing it, but in your books it feels so right. Well, first of all, thank you. That is very sweet. Someone says, you're killing all of them, aren't you? You guys are very funny. So, okay, back to the humor question. Thank you for thinking that I write humor well. I've never really thought about it. I just write humor the way that I live it. So I just write what feels natural, like the way that I would actually talk in a conversation, or the way that other people talk to me when they're being funny. Even in a fantastical or dystopian novel, you can still keep it very human and real, and just and insert levity into situations in the way that you would in any other story. Is Restore Me the last book of the series? I feel like this person does not have all the information. So that made me realize that, like, maybe there are lots of people who don't know and maybe think that Restore Me is the last book of the series. So I just felt like I should say, Restore Me is not the last book of the series. In fact, it is the first book in a new 3-book arc in the Shadow Me series. So that makes Restore Me book number 4 of 6. And there are 2 more. Defy Me is up next. After Defy Me, there's another novella. And after that novella, there is a final book in the series. Is Juliet going to get stronger over the course of the series? I think Juliet is always getting stronger, and she will continue to get stronger. Her evolution in Defy Me is really interesting because so much of it has to do with her finally understanding who she was, who she is. She gets a lot of answers about her past and her childhood. And that goes really far in sort of helping her feel more cemented in herself. And that's a different kind of strength, you know, that sort of certainty of self. I think stronger in many ways than any kind of physical strength or even just like self-confidence, or it's a different kind of strength. And that's kind of where we are at the end of Defy Me, which I think puts her in the strongest possible position to be a leader. What kind of a role will Adam have in Defy Me? I sort of talked about this earlier, that like the Adam thing is somebody says she literally killed 600 people. Spoiler alert, she didn't. She didn't kill 600 people. That is in the you see that if you read Shadow Me, and in the first excerpt of Defy Me. So what kind of role will Adam have in Defy Me? I don't want to say too much. I feel like that's been like the constant refrain of this conversation. I don't want to say too much, but I think that Adam will play a more important role in see, I almost said the title of the book of the last book. Adam will play a more important role in the final book of the series. And if I were to tell you why, I'm not going to tell you why, but you will be seeing more of him. You'll be seeing more of James. Somebody just said, am I the only one who thinks Adam deserves better? I don't think you are. I think a lot of people care about Adam. I care about Adam. I'm worried about Adam. Adam is going through a really, really hard time. I mean, he basically got forced into young parenthood at a really tender age, and he cares about his brother a lot, and often to the exclusion of all else. And it's made him kind of, he's really stressed out. He's got PTSD. He's like dealing with a lot of things. So he's not going to be a perfect character. Nobody's a perfect character. But just because somebody's not a bad person doesn't mean that they're necessarily the right person for you to spend the rest of your life with. Here's a question that I thought was interesting. How do you handle writing a book with a toddler? My 3.5-year-old hardly allows me to write a paragraph. Oh, oops, sorry, my battery's dying, so the thing paused for a second. So I'm going to wrap this up just a couple more minutes, and then I think we're all going to wrap this up. So the toddler question, how do you write with a toddler? Your toddler is 3.5 years old, you say. My daughter is not quite 2. So I don't know what it's like to write with a 3.5-year-old. It might be a very different experience. But I will say that sometimes I get my best writing done at night or when she goes to sleep. She's a really early riser, so she goes to bed pretty early, which means that my evenings are free. So I often will do a lot of really important work after she goes to bed. Right now, my mom is here and she's watching my daughter. So I also have help, which is, that's the secret, right? My mom helps so much. With childcare, but I'm very privileged to be able to have that, and not everybody does. What about Adam and Lily? That sort of struck me as an interesting question, because I don't know that Adam and Lily ever had a story. There's nothing between Adam and Lily. Will we see Nuria, or will we just hear from her? You will see her. You will see her in Defy Me. Just want to get a couple more things in before we gotta go. Oh, here's one. Are Juliet and Emmeline's parents as crazy as Warner's dad, and if so, why? The short and sweet answer is yes. Yes, they are totally nuts, because all of the supreme commanders of the reestablishment are insane. Otherwise, they have varying levels of insanity. They're not all the same. That's for certain, but no parents in their right mind would put their children through what they've put them through, right? So they're all pretty bananas. All right, guys, I should wrap this up. Thank you. Look at this. Thank you for all of your questions. I've been going through all of this, and I tried, I think, to answer as many of them as I could. I hope that I did. But as always, regardless of everything, thank you guys so much for reading these books. I cannot believe you've stuck around for this long, or if you're new readers, thanks for being here. I'm so lucky to be able to do what I do, and I'm so lucky to be able to share it with you guys. So thank you for reading. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoy Shadow Me. I hope you enjoy Defy Me when it comes out. And if you're scared or nervous, just have a little faith. If I let you down, I'm sorry, but it is certainly not my intention. All right, guys, I'll see you later. And I will keep this up for 24 hours if you've missed it, or if you want to come back to it.